Hello and welcome back to Serie A Spotlight. We're your hosts Jake and Matt.
You know what time it is!
I can't tell you guys enough how much you've been my internal monologue when thinking about football for the last year.
Yes! Amazing!
We get to record while drinking some wine.
Jake and I will have a very special soft spot for Salernitana.
we love him.
We love him.
Stop zooming in on Allegri's face, bro. You're gonna make
How are
me
you
break.
exposing me?
Because you're gonna make me break. Man. Hello and welcome back to another episode of Serie A Spotlight. This is episode 132 and we're your hosts Matt
And Jake.
So you guys might have been lost watching the Euros while letting all the Serie A drama unfold in the background. But don't worry, we are Serie A nerds, so we're here to give you everything you guys could have missed.
The news kind of stalls and then comes at you in bursts. You know what I mean when it comes to transfer news, and there's so much that it's difficult to kind of differentiate between what's real and what's not. You know what I mean? Nowadays you can't even trust Fabrizio Romano all the time. You know what I mean? Who can you trust?
I still trust Romano with my life. It's just that obviously since now everyone has a social media page, everyone has a podcast. Oh, look at us.
Look at us.
That some people are a bit more casual with the news that they post, and sometimes you might take that as literature, you might take it as the writing of God. But we're here to give you everything that's been confirmed so far, and then we'll go through a few rumors at the end.
Because there are some rumors that are apparently more close to becoming reality than others, of course, naturally. And we'll give you a list of free agents as well, and we'll give you a little reaction about the Euros. I'm not sure if we should start with that, actually, bro.
Let's start with that. Before obviously getting into it, I also want to point out that this is not all there is yet. A lot of footballers want to remain professional throughout the Euros. Like Zirkzee, for example, who's saying, look, I'm going to discuss everything the second we get knocked out of the Euros, essentially, after the competition comes to an
how
end.
much I can make then.
No, not how much he can make, but how much Jan fucking...
I think that's a front.
You think it's a front?
The agent represents the player.
But
it's what the player wants.
But
no, if the player didn't want it, he would sack him. The same thing, someone had done it with Raiola back in the day.
There is crazy stuff. What I see at least is that there must be this weird Stockholm syndrome with players and their agents.
Sometimes, yes, but that's usually when they take them on at a young age.
Yeah.
Like Donnarumma with the whole Raiola thing and his family being close to him. But I highly doubt Zirkzee has a special connection with his agent to the point that he would put his dream move to Milan allegedly on the line, so his agent can pocket 15 million. They're going fucking halves, if not more for Zirkzee. But yeah. So bro, Italy are out of the Euros. Let's give a quick reaction to this, and then we'll jump straight into the Mercato updates because there's been lots of chat. So first of all, I'm going to ask you, who do you blame for this?
I blame Spalletti almost entirely. I don't think that the team, not entirely, but almost entirely, because I feel like the team didn't play to its strengths, and Spalletti made it no secret that he doesn't care about the team's strengths. He has a tried and tested system that has worked, and that is what they're going to do. Which over a longer term project, and not for instant success of the European Championships, I'd say fair enough. But in the short term, we saw Italy really struggle. Apart from Spalletti obviously having issues in that regard, I also saw the lack of a game-changing midfielder for Italy, and just a lack of stability in the midfield region in particular. Like, you can't point at Scamacca, you can't point at Chiesa, and these guys that usually can turn a game around. But the gap between midfield and attack, and the gap between midfield and defense, was a constant thing. Midfielders constantly out of shape, midfielders being dropped. You've got virtually a new 3 players in the midfield, literally almost every single game. Fagioli being introduced, and then for Jorginho, who looks washed. Locatelli being left out on the wing, and then El Shaarawy started at a point. There was a lot of, it's like, Spalletti didn't know, like he didn't make his final verdict when going into the competition. But to be completely fair, I also saw a bit of a lack of talent, which is odd for me to say because I praise the Italian players and Serie A so much, which is mainly where these players are coming from. But without that element of unity and without that drive, we clearly saw a significant lack of talent, especially in midfield, I would say.
Yes, in midfield it definitely felt limited, and I don't feel like Spalletti did himself any favors when it comes to his selection, his choices, because calling up Fagioli apparently not only was a jaw-dropping decision for us, but apparently it wasn't well received in the dressing room either. Because Fagioli, at the end of the day, ratted out Tonali. So many people aren't happy with that. Many of the teammates, like take the bullet without ratting out Tonali for a shorter sentence. You know what I mean? No one likes a rat, no matter what the context is.
Yeah.
When it comes to the selection, I do feel like he showed his biases, and he Di Lorenzo. The fact that Di Lorenzo came out and said, "Listen, if it were any other coach, he would have dropped me." He said that himself.
And the thing is, like, Di Lorenzo's absolutely right. He was dog shit throughout the entire tournament. I have no idea. We'll get to this. How Conte said he's so pivotal to his
Because it's
vision at Napoli, but there are two right-sided players that are much better than Di Lorenzo in Bellanova and in Cambiaso.
It's just that. That's the thing exactly. So
Even Coyote is better to a degree.
So
man.
Spalletti was talking about mimicking Inter's system because Inter are a fantastic team and they should be respected, and he was full of praise for Inter, right? So he took a squad that's adapted to a 3 at the back system. He played a lot of these Inter players. If you have Di Marco on the left at Inter, who's on the right? It's Dumfries.
Yeah.
What does Dumfries do? Dumfries bombs up and down the flank to create freedom on Di Marco's side. Di Lorenzo cannot do that. Someone like Bellanova can do that perfectly. He was doing it all season, bombing up and down the right-hand side. So I think that would have been a good thing for Spalletti to try to experiment with. Another thing, man, just like the decisions. What was he doing? Starting El Shaarawy in that match against Switzerland.
Zaccagni had just scored the last
Zaccagni
winner.
scored a winner. He gave you a lifeline. You would have been knocked out without him. And you're going to start El Shaarawy, who's not great. I mean, with Roma, he's okay. He's a decent squad player, but like,
he's not going to win you the Euros,
exactly,
bro.
he's not the player you'd start. I feel like he overcomplicated everything. He talked way too much. He split a group that was possibly already united because they had already won the Euros. They were the defending champions, essentially. And I do feel like most of the blame should be put on his.
I think he needs to take responsibility for that, and he has.
He has.
With that
tongue
being
in cheek.
said. Thankfully there's a lot of talent coming up to the ranks. I think I heard a few pundits talking about like that there's no young talent. Hello, the under 17s won the World Cup and the under 19s won the World Cup. Hello, there's a lot of fucking talent.
The question is though, the talent, will they develop? Will they be developed?
That's the question. And you see a lot of like the young players that have won the under 19 World Cup, under 18 World Cup, so on and so forth. You see them amount to nothing, but then you also see a lot of these players amounting to a lot, right? Players like Camarda, Pafundi, Fazzini, these are all guys I see developing into great players in the future. I think the future is bright, man.
When these guys, when these pundits talk about, because Italy have no talent, Italy have this generational kind of, it's a kind of empty generation, hollow generation, they're saying. I think it's all bullcrap, all of it. Because you look at the way Albania played in the Euros. You're telling me Albania have a better squad. You're telling me Slovakia have a better squad. You're telling me Romania have a better squad. These guys
I think they meant Austria, not Albania.
Albania as well. Albania played a decent fucking Euros. They put their heart on. They left their heart and soul on the pitch. They made their country proud. Italy disappointed everyone. And look, we're criticizing Spalletti over here, but the eyesore was thanks to the players.
Yeah.
Because Scamacca had absolutely no fight in him. Everyone was scared. The midfielders not really inserting themselves. The Inter players look like they've been on holiday. Now maybe winning the league early might have actually had something.
I never see Barella, Di Marco and Bastoni make those mistakes for Inter.
Do you think maybe they won the league so early that they're kind of out of that kind of momentum? You know, they've lost the momentum.
No, I don't think so. I think when you go into the Euros representing your country, especially as defending champions, I think there's way too much pride and drive. Like, you see how heartbreaking it is for players who miss out on this competition. It means a lot to them. I don't think they'll be complacent, or I don't think they'll be in the wrong mindset.
But maybe they're not. That's
An extra week off. An extra week off might have actually done them good as well in some weird way, but it didn't. It didn't work out for Italy for whatever reason. Switzerland are a magnificent team that can go. They're on the easier side of the table, right? If they get past England and then they face Netherlands or whoever, they have a solid chance of going all the way to the final. And this leads to my question of, who do you think is the best performing Serie A player in the Euros thus far?
The best performing.
Sorry to segue again into another Euro conversation.
Player in the Euros so far. There have been quite a few. Freuler has been massive.
Agreed.
Freuler has been massive.
1,000,000%. Keep in mind, this is the guy at the center of Motta's project at Bologna. He's what makes it tick in midfield for the Swiss team.
I think not the best player, but I think even like Leao has been good.
Leao has been good. Leao had a good game, the last game.
He's been, so far Leao has only had good games, to be honest. He just takes him out and leaves Ronaldo on. Dude, Ronaldo is gonna lose them the fucking tournament. Without Ronaldo, they can win the thing. But
true.
Imagine how fluid they would be if they play the other guys they have over there. They're such a talented team. It's ridiculous on paper when you read the names of Portugal. But the fact that Ronaldo isn't being utilized as that guy that you bring on with 20 minutes to go to try to get a goal, to try to motivate the team. Okay, Ronaldo's coming on. Come on, let's feed him. Let's get a late goal. That's how he should be fucking utilized, Ronaldo. Everyone's tired. Ronaldo's coming on.
He'll go home,
He can
bro.
play. You know,
He'll go home
he
if
wants
that
to start.
happens.
He's playing 90 minutes every 3 days, Ronaldo. 39-year-old Ronaldo. You know, and because he set up that pass. You know, he gave that pass when he was 1-on-1. He didn't pass, I think, a single time in the next game, like in the final thread. He was just like, I've been selfless. I'm just gonna shoot from now on.
Exactly.
And then he missed the penalty, which is the least Ronaldo thing.
That's true.
Ever,
That's
by
true.
the way.
That
So,
I've
like,
ever
if
seen.
he's not even gonna score the penalty for you at this point, man, come on, I don't know. I get that it's Ronaldo, but having him on the sideline has actually already won them a Euros before in the final.
Yeah.
Remember when what's his name scored?
Eder. I don't think Portugal are gonna win the Euros by any stretch of the imagination. I think it's still too early to make a prediction because, like, I haven't seen the best of performances from France. I think so far the best team that I've seen are between Spain and Switzerland. To a degree, Germany. I think Spain get it done against Germany, but this is all chat for another day.
Yes. One more question before we move on. Do you think Spalletti should be sacked?
No,
Relax.
relax.
I agree with you totally.
Oh my God,
ridiculous.
relax.
Like there's the World Cup coming up. Like, the whole point is that he hasn't had time to implement his system, right? Hopefully this was kind of like a learning experience for him, and he'll call up the right personnel and really.
The worst case scenario for Italy is that they have a brand new manager in a brand new competition every single time. That's what you want. It's rubbish. Hopefully Italy make the World Cup, and because we've seen them struggle with that in recent history. But I think Spalletti, interesting, because I've never seen Spalletti do bits in a knockout competition. It's always been in a league. That's why I guess Conte would have been a smart choice, for example.
Conte, man, had a team that was memed and made fun of. I remember a viral tweet that had gone out where it got Spain's midfield and it was crazy stacked.
Xavi, Iniesta, Busquets.
Literally, all of them, all those guys, like. And then, like, Italy had, like, Parolo, I think. And I remember, like, Parolo and Iniesta, they cropped them, like, right next to each other, and the bros don't even breathe the same air, you know? And they beat them.
Yeah.
They knocked them out.
2-0, 2-0.
And that team, man, will forever be remembered, not because of the talent they have, not because of what a fantastic generation they were. It's because of how hard they worked and the passion that they showed. and the memories they made, man. Barzagli crying at the end, saying like the saddest thing is that no one will remember this team. Wrong, bro. Everyone's talking about that team right now.
I'm thinking about it now. How well did Napoli do in the Serie A when they won it? How poorly did they do in the Champions League and in the Cup? And then it's interesting to think about him as a cup manager than anything else. Speaking of managers, in the first part of this episode, guys, what we're going to do is go through, obviously there's been a lot of uncertainty with regards to managerial contracts, so on and so forth. We know that last summer until last season, all top 7 teams kept the same manager, albeit a lot of them, well, 2 of them, Roma and Lazio, changed managers halfway through the season. But this time there's actually been a lot of movement. So why don't we start taking our beautiful, gorgeous, sexy fucking listeners through all the managerial changes that there's been.
Yeah, shout out to the patrons, by the way, because fucking hell, we forgot to shout them out. And I don't have the list ready.
So we haven't recorded a normal episode in so long, so apologies if our groove is a little bit off.
Yes. And if, by the way, you're not watching on YouTube, I'm not going to tell you what's behind us.
It's true.
All right, so go check it out.
I'm not even telling you what we're wearing.
Oh, what we're wearing.
That's crazy.
So Atalanta will continue with Gasperini. Of course, we know Gasperini. I have a few notes on the philosophies of the manager. Shall we go through them for those who don't know?
Yes. I don't want to do like a rundown of it. Like let's take our time to discuss each one. Gasperini,
because I would say most of our listeners, the average level would be like intermediate, upper intermediate. So they don't.
We've got a lot of G's as well. But I think just off the bat. Incredibly important for Atalanta to keep their hands on Gasperini because he's shown his versatility as a manager, just capable of playing so many different systems and changing it up and finding success. I think what he's been able to do with Atalanta over the past 5-6 years has been amazing. Still to this day, the longest standing manager in Serie A, I'm seeing there from 2016.
2016, by far he's the longest serving manager in Serie A. By far. And he's only got better. That's the thing. And Atalanta have only got better, and what they have is perfect harmony together. Atalanta and Gasperini. Gasperini, of course, plays a 3 at the back formation that is known to be quite aggressive. For those of you who don't know, they are always amongst the top scorers in the league. So if you have a Fantacalcio league this season, it might be wise to take a defender or two, a midfielder or two from Atalanta.
But do be careful, because Gasperini rotates like crazy. He rotates his players all the time.
You'll take Lookman and he'll get 45 minutes randomly against Empoli. And you'll be like, what the hell?
You'll be pissed off.
Exactly. So yes, Atalanta stick with their man. Very interesting stuff. Bologna have taken on Vincenzo Italiano, who's arrived from Fiorentina after making 3 finals and winning none of them. He made 2 Conference League finals and 1 Coppa Italia final.
Yeah.
But he kind of got them consistently qualifying for Europe. And now Bologna have Champions League football, and they've chosen Vincenzo Italiano to replace Thiago Motta, who exceeded all expectations and was the best manager in the league, maybe bar Inzaghi.
I think we've discussed over another 2 episodes, even with Lukaku, how I think this is a bit of a lateral move for Italiano when you compare Fiorentina and Bologna's successes side by side over the past few years. I think caliber-wise, man for man, so on and so forth. The only thing that separates them is the fact that this season Bologna have Champions League football. I think that's the only difference. However, with that being said, he simply has higher expectations this year, and he has more responsibility. So before taking an even bigger job than Bologna, this is a good step for him to take. And I've really seen him struggle turning defense into attack with teams. Fiorentina last 2 seasons they weren't a joy to watch in the slightest. Whereas we saw Italiano perform so well with a team like Spezia, where he was giving
to their first ever promotion to Serie A, and he ensured survival as well in the first season.
I just hope to God Italiano isn't a lower tier manager. This is his opportunity to prove us wrong. I know he's made all those finals. I know. But unfortunately, the reality is, unless you get silverware in those, then they're kind of annulled, no? Because at the end of the day, he was finishing 8th place, 7th place with Fiorentina.
I think he's going to a club which is much better managed than Fiorentina. They've got a fantastic sporting director. They've got a fantastic system, healthy finances as well.
I mean, you look at the players that have come up, Calafiori, Zirkzee, Freuler, Orsolini, all these guys that they've gotten their hands on so early on in their careers and were capable of turning them into...
They can pick out bargains, definitely, absolutely.
Whereas Fiorentina and then might as well be laundering money when it comes to the signings that they make, because it's ridiculous. Honestly, some of the weirdest moves I've ever seen.
Who's that really bad Spezia striker? I want him. But yes, I think this is a good opportunity for Italiano. I think he deserves it because making 3 finals with Fiorentina is not easy. It's not easy at all. And he does play a nice possession-based game, quick passing and movement. The final third has become a problem, and it seems things have gone flat at Fiorentina. Maybe he does need a new environment, a new set of players.
I think so.
If things go flat in the final third again, then we can understand that this is a systemic problem.
Yeah.
And it's an Italiano problem.
And we've seen some of the top managers struggling in spells with very particular teams who are just maybe a bit harder to manage. I think he can do well at Bologna. This is one of the most exciting changes for me because we have a team that really overperformed. We've had a manager that's shown us that he's good, but has plateaued. Interested to see where they're gonna, how they're gonna take the next step over there.
Interesting to see as well what their objectives and expectations are. Are they aiming for a top 4 finish?
They must be looking to retain Champions League football.
That's tough.
It's tough, especially
but we'll
obviously
see what they do when they get the money.
They're gonna have more money to spend. Again, I don't see them splashing too much cash. I see them sticking to the project. And like that, they could at least maintain European football, not Champions League football.
They have pull now, though, with a season in Champions League, with a squad with gaps in it. You know, if you're a centre-back, you think if I go there, I can start, I can become the guy. If you're a striker, you think I can go there, I can become the guy. Because Calafiori and Zirkzee are most definitely leading.
Yeah.
Yes, very good. So we can move on to Cagliari, who have appointed Davide Nicola. What happened? I have no idea. I don't know why Nicola left Empoli to go to Cagliari. It's almost like new challenge. I don't get what prompted this move. To be honest, the vibes in Sardinia are much better than the vibes perhaps at Empoli.
I think the difference is, for Nicola, if he gets a job at the start of a campaign, it's a massive plus that he'll have a club that are showing that much trust in him and not just bring him in, let him save our season because he is stereotypically that guy. I do see Cagliari doing well under Davide Nicola with their kind of system, with their high intensity. With their high intensity football, I think they found a manager that can best match that energy.
Yes, and I think with a team like Cagliari, who are already quite solid at home, getting a manager who's more pragmatic and more defensively sound would do them wonders. You know, all you have to do then is kind of find some nice bargains that can I'm talking attacking players that can kind of influence the counter attack better. Luvumbo's already great there, but we'll see if he stays there, for example. But I think Nicola's system with a few tricky, quick players that can get the ball forward in transition and you're good. That's literally what Empoli was with Cancellieri and Niang and Cambiaghi. You know, they would just burst forward after being compact and winning back possession. I think this is an interesting move, and I'm quite happy because I was worried they were going to go for Di Francesco, and I love Cagliari.
Oh, don't worry, another team will love it for Di Francesco.
And they're up, and they're down. We'll see how they do. Di Francesco, to be honest, did pretty well in the first half of the season with Frosinone. But then he just kept attacking, man.
But that's like when you start sprinting in a full marathon, and then you realize, fuck, there's 30 kilometers left.
Oh shit, I'm chubby and out of shape. I'm all out of gas. Yes.
Como next.
So, yes. Wait a second. So apparently, Nicola going had something to do with the Luperto move, who followed the coach, because Luperto went to Cagliari as well to replace Dos Sena, so it might have had something to do with that. How weird.
I think the Luperto move had something to do with the Nicola move rather, not the other way around.
It could be both of them perhaps together. I don't know.
Would have been
but
cute.
it's weird to think of including a manager in a transfer.
No, but a lot of managers move clubs and they take a player with them.
Taking a player with you, yes. But I'm thinking
Mourinho took Essien to Real Madrid, like.
Yes. What I have written here is that it was a form of compensation. So I don't know if
Okay, so he was included in the deal in some weird way.
I'm not sure. I believe that. Take that with a pinch of salt, guys. We'll double check that. Como. Who knows what's going on at Como? Because someone hasn't done their fucking coaching license yet, apparently. Cesc Fabregas is technically the manager, but there's, how do you pronounce his first name? Is it Ocean Roberts? Yes, Roberts. He's technically the manager, Ocean Roberts. As if you've heard our Serie B episode, you would know all this, and they'd be like, come on, get to the point. Next one, please. Yes, it's going to be Fabregas, apparently. Everything points towards the fact that he's going to be the main guy next season. And it's very interesting, the brand of football he plays and the moves that they're trying to make. You heard who Como are trying to bring in?
Yes, of course. Varane, no?
Varane.
They're dreaming of Varane. And they've made some good...
He went to Como.
These are one of the teams. Como, Venezia, Parma, these three newly promoted teams have this strange element of pull. Parma because of their history, Venezia because of their brand, Como because of the city. I feel like they each have and the project. Oh, definitely the project. And they all have pull in their own interesting way. The same way Monza had pull. Because of the city's culture and also because of the project with the Berlusconi cash, so on and so forth. The all Italian. It's exactly. Like they're going to war, these guys, 11 Italian men.
Yeah, hopefully they don't play like the 11 Italian men we've been seeing recently. So that's Cesc Fabregas, who plays a nice possession-based game. Go listen to our Serie B episode for more information on that. Empoli have brought in Roberto D'Aversa.
Relegation.
It's not looking good.
No.
Especially when you look at the players who are leaving and the players they're linked with. It's not looking great at all.
No.
Roberto D'Aversa, of course, plays a 4-3-3 or a 4-3-1-2, so it fits the Empoli philosophy that we've been seeing recently. He plays a balanced approach with a focus on a solid defense and structured build-up play. He's known for his successful periods with Parma, Roberto D'Aversa, taking them all the way up when they got relegated to Serie D. He was the guy who took them up to Serie A.
Never quite seen him do it at Serie A.
Never quite seen him maintain that level.
And it's hard to say what his style is in that regard.
It's kind of balanced. It's similar to Nicola, but not as defensive, I would say.
No, not too hopeful about Empoli.
Yeah, it's not looking too good for them. D'Aversa, though, hopefully doesn't punch anyone in the face this time.
Yeah, try your best. Avoid it.
He lost his previous job, which probably got Lecce saved because they were looking really... things were looking dire under D'Aversa.
Yeah, it was in a relegation 6-pointer against Verona and he cracked.
He punched Henry in the face. Yeah. Lord knows what he said to him.
Henry, like, if you go watch his highlight reel, it's him arguing and him getting sent off in the 96th minute.
Exactly.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, and I think the Lecce owners were like, okay, guys, he's done it. He's punched him quickly. Sack him right now. Now is our chance. Now is our chance. Listen, you do not align with the principles here at Lecce. Yeah, the same thing that you did with Allegri, essentially.
The next one's a cool one as well.
Is it? It's Fiorentina. This is wicked. Raffaele Palladino.
Yes. Still, I think to this day, the youngest manager in the league. And he's shown, like, okay, Monza have a cool team, but they had a brand new team in their debut season in Serie A where he was the assistant manager. And he really stepped it up. He stood up to the occasion. He has a great track record against the top teams. And Fiorentina is just a great place for him to learn and grow. Hopefully he won't clash too much with Rocco Commisso. And he should have a good spell over there.
Commisso isn't that difficult as a person, I think, from what we've seen. He's tougher with the media, I think, than he is with his own people. He's quite loved, I think, by the majority in Florence. Correct me if I'm mistaken. This is a totally new thing for Palladino to experience.
Yeah.
With Monza, the objective has always been survive. Now he's going to be challenge for Europe.
Yeah.
Qualify for
He needs to
Europe.
get Conference League.
Get Conference
He needs
League,
to get
exactly.
Conference League.
So there are expectations with Palladino. At Monza, he kind of had it figured out. He wasn't going to get relegated. He wasn't going to qualify for the league. He was always going to be forgiven. He was always going to be between that 10th place and that 15th place. You know what I mean? That area.
Not in danger of relegation. Kind of
no
fighting
man's
for a
land.
10th spot.
Exactly. So now this is the perfect challenge for him. It came at a good time because, yes, he was again plateauing at Monza.
Yeah.
Cool. He, of course, is 3-5. He plays a 3-5-2 usually, but he's very tactically flexible. He emphasizes a strong defense, but he attacks very dangerously using wing backs usually. You remember Churia that one season was playing as wing back?
He has good transitions of play that I've really enjoyed at Monza, and he had specific players that really they shone through his system. Colpani, Churia.
I'm trying to think of their first season. Who was Carlos Augusto?
My God, Carlos Augusto was there. I forgot
really
about
that. Yes. Next we have Genoa, who have confirmed Alberto Gilardino, and I'm very happy.
I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you. Even when he had Petagna striker for Monza, he was utilizing him really well with his back-towards goal.
It's true. He was
like
knocking
a budget,
the ball down perfectly.
Lukaku is what he was.
That's true. Huh? So maybe he might find joy in Nzola.
We'll see. A few people have.
I think. Hardly anyone. So Gilardino, he has been confirmed by Genoa, thankfully, because it would have been way too early for him to make a move. He had a fantastic. Sorry, my God. He had a fantastic season. Last season, they exceeded every expectation. They were never really in danger of being relegated. I don't know what's going on, bro.
Take a breather, King.
Yes, and he usually plays a 4-4-2, 3-5-2. He's very tactically flexible. Traditional Italian defensive solidity combined with opportunistic attacking play is a good way to put it.
He is the definition of balance. To use balance to describe some of those other managers, Gilardino is the perfect fucking example of that.
That's true.
And Genoa are another team who do smart business, very smart business, with their acquisition of Retegui, Malinovsky, Messias. Those were three great acquisitions. They had Goodmanson, of course. Goodmanson likely on his way out, so they have someone like Vitinha.
Or on his way in.
On board now. And they are on his way into the slammer.
Exactly.
And also Dragusin, who was part of it, and they flipped him immediately for significant profit.
Now the goalkeeper Martinez to Inter.
To Inter for 13 million.
Yeah.
They do really good business.
Seems like
Genoa.
it's an American group.
777.
Yeah. Yeah, all nice and
7,
all
7,
good
7.
there in Genoa. Now all we need is Sampdoria to come back up for that Lanterna derby, right? That would be so lit nowadays.
This would be beautiful.
Yeah. Inter have confirmed Simone Inzaghi, of course, who plays
God,
3-5-2, and it's pretty much an offensive powerhouse and a defensive machine. They have the best attack and the best defense, basically, in the league.
Best midfield.
Inzaghi has managed to lose key players every season, yet somehow improve the team.
Like now they confirmed Zielinski, for example. Now imagine him in place of Mkhitaryan. It's almost like an upgrade.
You've got Inzaghi managing the players, and you've got Marotta making it happen. It's a dream team for them right now.
And now Marotta has way more responsibility with their new owners on board. So it's
Zhang is gone, by the way. No more Zhang.
It's looking very, very good for Inter.
For Inter, it's looking good. They brought in some players as well already. No?
However,
they do need to offload some dead weight before they make moves.
Yes. Arnautovic, because they want to sign Goodmanson and they need to remove Arnautovic. First, they need to find a suitor for him. I'm just hoping that won't be Milan, because Milan have a habit of signing Arnautovic of sorts. What was I going to say? But however, it's just tossing in a thought over here. We haven't seen consecutive Serie A winners since Juve. So it's not like no one's ever going to do it again, but just food for thought.
You bet your sweet ass in our predictions I'm not picking Inter for that exactly. It's not going to be Inter. going to be Napoli.
Oh my god.
Now we see.
From-
We have to
from
dedicate
10.
an episode to that, huh?
Yes, to our predictions,
Yes,
no?
yes.
Every year. This time we keep track of them more, man, because I would have loved to take a look back at our predictions.
We could do it next week if you want.
I mean, we could. Let's
I
see what
mean,
else we could
yeah,
add to the
yeah,
agenda,
yeah.
because that's a bit...
We'll see.
You know, there's still the Euros. We might want to touch upon those a bit more.
We might, or we'll just enjoy them.
Or
Having
just,
to prepare, like
I
just
mean,
sit
we
back
just
and just
watch
watch
them.
them. So taking notes.
Oh yeah, we'll discuss
We'll
that
see.
off air.
Yes, that's Inzaghi for you. Then you have Juventus, who brought in the best things in sliced bread. No, and
Yes.
say Thiago Motta, who has been again very tactically flexible with his 4-3-3 /3-4-3
what's
/2-2-7-2.
2-7-2.
Yes,
I don't know how you have those two formations written there. Motta has the 2-7-2.
high possession, fluid attacking football, perfectly balanced. Another very balanced system.
Douglas Luiz at the center of the project now.
Yes, in midfield, and they're trying to get Coupe Miners still. So
And unfortunately for them, probably not signing Calafiori. Calafiori is being tempted.
by
Well,
Arsenal,
Bologna are being tempted by Arsenal.
like 47 million or something.
40 million.
Okay,
I heard
three-
40 million.
Two good games, two great games, and boom, 47 million. That's the Premier League for you.
The media in the UK is hilarious. Obviously, we're all aware of his talent.
Can you imagine all the aura posts on their
Oh
socials?
my god, man.
Aura.
He'll look very good in an Arsenal kit. Let's be honest, Arsenal have one of the slickest kits in the Prem, and then he's gonna look insane there.
Yeah. I think Juve with Thiago Motta, of course, it's a completely new Juve. We're going to see a transformed team over here beyond recognition. This team's going to be, because we're used to seeing Allegri there, and we've seen him for such a long time that like Juve are this team that's just going to sit back. You can attack them, and if they score early, you're fucked. But if you get an early goal, you can totally do it. Or if you manage to score somehow. This is going to be very interesting. We just have to sit and wait to see what happens. Things are falling into place already. Some moves are happening. We'll talk about them very soon. But yes, Thiago Motta is very, very exciting.
Huge.
And this Juve news is massive. And their fans are super excited.
Yeah.
Lazio have gone for Marco Baroni. Marco Baroni had an amazing season at Verona, saving them against all odds. Kind of like the Salernitana of this year, of Davide Nicola. However, do you think that he deserved a move of this caliber?
I think typically you see someone who was with a relegation team take on a Torino job before they can take on a Lazio
exactly.
job. That's my instant reaction. Like what happened when Napoli took Ballardini. It was one of the weirdest moves. This was Ballardini, right? No, it wasn't. Madonna. Brain fart.
Mazzarri.
Mazzarri with the fucking cut from
that
the
would
same.
have been
from the
great.
same
though.
cloth.
Ballardini at Napoli.
Literally. It's bald ass head.
He's cold.
He's
cool,
cold.
man. Does he show on the camera? No, he doesn't. He's out of frame. He's up
No.
there. On the new thing that's behind us.
But typically, you see managers take that step, and when they don't, you instantly see where they're stuck. And Lazio, even with the acquisitions that they made, like I'm already gonna tell you guys what joke I'm gonna make. It's Lazio are looking to solidify themselves as a mid-table team, because that's what it fucking looks like. They made signings like Tiani Noslin, Chauna from Salernitana, where it's like, cool move for the hipsters, but Lazio, you finished second 2 seasons ago,
I think this
respect, because I like Baroni.
It doesn't look good on paper, and the fans must be fuming. However, Lotito might be cooking over here, because you're bringing in Baroni, who again kind of like he can tighten things up at the back. Break on the counter with fluid players. We saw how he utilized Noslin, for example. It was very, very good. Imagine that. Now he's getting Chauna, he's getting Noslin, he's getting these explosive players. They've got
What's
this
he
Barcelona.
doing? He's building his dream relegation 11 like we
no,
did in that one
those
episode.
are bargains, bro. Those are bargains. Those are the players who are going down. The clubs need to sell to make money. Their value has decreased significantly because the players are all going to try to force their way out. and you try to take them. You took the player that performed best with him in Noslin, and then you take Chauna, the most exciting player on Salernitana. Granted, you're losing Felipe Anderson.
You need competitive players to the caliber of your team, though. Like you should see them bringing in players from higher teams who perform better than those few players that they've already onboarded. I don't know. These are very Lazio moves in that regard. They could definitely go for better options.
Absolutely, especially with all the managers that were available. However, yes, we'll see what they're trying to do if they sign a big name or not. That's essentially it. You're absolutely right, because these are nice bargains, but they can't be your starters.
Exactly.
And plus, they're all right wingers.
Like their midfield was such an issue. And
exactly.
Fuck knows what the fuck is happening to Luis Alberto, for example, this season. He's gone. He's out. Done.
He's done. He's gone to Arabia. Saudi Arabia.
He's gone to Arabia.
He's making 8 million a season.
Okay, lit. Congratulations. He's gotten out. So again, nowhere near the team they were 2 seasons ago, and just these signings, it doesn't seem like they're trying to get anywhere close to where they were
next season. But long term, these might be massive bargains for them, because remember, these guys are cheap and young, which is and talented. You can't deny that. They are talented.
They're talented, but
Chauna was very impressive for Salernitana.
Chauna's impressive, bro, but their ceiling, he doesn't have as high a ceiling as certain other players that he could get his hands on, like all of these players from the French league, so on and so forth, where Milan do business, for example. Like, I don't know. Like,
he's only 20, bro. I thought he was older than 20. To be honest,
I thought he was older than 20 as well, to be fair.
He's 20, and for 20, that's very good. Noslin's 24, and by the way, I was reading about
Noslin's 6 months, man. Noslin played. They brought him in for 6 months, and he played well.
You know what the thing about Noslin is, which I really respect. Noslin came up through the lower rankings as kind of like from the lower divisions, not from a club's academy. He wasn't like molded in a big club. He actually came up kind of the hard way. He did it himself. He just kept climbing and impressing till he got this move.
Well, just remember Lazio are a team that want to fight for Champions League. That's all I'm going to say. I think I can end my part of the discussion over
Fair
there.
Enough, yes. So there's still a lot of work to be done. Let's agree on that.
Yeah.
Yes, but Baroni is a fantastic manager for a relegation side.
He's
Let's
a great
see if
manager.
he'll be a good manager for a Lazio side.
Exactly.
Luca Gotti, the man, the myth, the legend for Lecce. He did very well in the second part of the season when he was actually employed. Let's see if he can do it for a full season where he typically kind of struggles or gets sacked, right? He plays a 3-5-2, which is defensively resilient. Structural build-up play, uses wing-backs efficiently as well. We're sensing a team. There's a bit of a meta in Serie A this season.
Yeah.
Steady performances with Udinese. He's known for kind of focusing on avoiding relegation. Lecce's plan will be to remain the only southern team, the only southern small team in Serie A. Because they are.
True.
Because the other only southern team is Napoli, and they're not a small team.
If we're discounting Sardinia, naturally.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Just one thing I want to say is not even controversial, but Gotti and D'Aversa, to me, and Zanetti was another one a couple of seasons ago, are 2 managers that I think just remain in Serie A because they're a familiar face. And clubs don't want to take too much of a risk by bringing someone in from another league or from Serie B, for example. Because these are 2 managers that, to me, they've not exactly impressed me. It's like they didn't really get a team out of relegation, and they didn't really overperform with any teams. It's just like they are where they should be, nothing more, nothing less. They never really took teams to a whole new level or implemented a style that's so transcending for these teams and just gets them playing amazing football. To me, it's almost like when a club opts for these managers, I feel like they're settling a little bit when they could be taking more of a gamble. These aren't managers that are going to take you to the next level, you know?
Absolutely no, and I don't think Lecce plan on getting to the next level. You see all the deals they do, it's like 1,400,000. 5, they don't have the facilities to aim higher than I think Serie A survival for now. they found a guy who got the team clicking, who created a fantastic atmosphere and made them a solid unit. And they're sticking with him, and I think it's the right thing to do. But of course, you're absolutely right when it comes to these familiar faces, bro. It's much safer if you're Sassuolo, for example, and you're facing relegation and you're in danger to go for Ballardini than it is to go for example, Cannavaro, as Udinese risked. Turned out to work for Udinese, but yeah, absolutely, yes. These guys have a lot of experience.
Oh my god, how low down the list our Milan were.
Paolo Fonseca is Milan's manager.
Here, ready to open up the conversation for 30 minutes.
No, I don't plan on. All I want to say is that I was disappointed by Fonseca's hire, as there were so many names being mentioned, and I felt like this was an opportunity for Milan after the Pioli era to really get a project manager, someone who's established, pay a little bit extra for a good manager.
Yeah, De Zerbi begging to come in, man.
Someone who's demanding, someone who's a winner.
Someone
Conte,
who takes his
De Zerbi,
fucking pants off in training.
Conceição, go for one of these guys, one of those guys. I was disappointed that they went for Fonseca because Fonseca has been okay with sales. This is the same thing as Baroni, for example. Lazio bringing in Baroni might also be, listen, I'm in charge here. I'm gonna sell who I want. I'm gonna buy who I want, and you'll be a yes man. Because remember at Verona, they sold all his players, and he never complained. Company man. I'm afraid that Milan might have been attracted to the idea that Fonseca is a company man, for example. He does have a nice system. He does play beautiful football. It does look interesting with the players. We have some conflicts with, for example, the wingers playing inside. You have Leao
might
having
struggle
to play
there.
inside.
Will struggle there.
Emphasis on fullbacks. You have Theo, who will thrive ideally
if he stays.
Yes, so I was a little bit disappointed, but I'm not going to write him out, and I'm going to see, of course, what he has to offer him.
No, he let's say he's a company man, absolutely, but I do think he is a demanding manager that will have the respect of the locker room in that sense. I think he's a tough man to impress, and I think he's on the stricter side of the spectrum, way stricter than Pioli, for example. So he has quite a similar play style to Pioli to a certain extent. And
they want to hold the ball, they want to control the game.
Yes, which might be familiar enough for the players, but might improve. I really wanted Milan to either go for De Zerbi, because De Zerbi is literally De Zerbi. He's the second coming of Guardiola. Obviously,
Indeed.
take that with a pinch of salt. But City literally said we want him after Guardiola.
He's amazing.
He's amazing. With that being said, I also really liked the profile of Conceição because he's so solid defensively. With that being said, Fonseca with Lille had one of the best defensive records in Ligue 1.
That's very true.
So interesting, man. Now, possession-based football, sometimes, they say attack is the best form of defense. So we could see Milan get better through the domination of play, tidy up things defensively. But it's one of those things that we have to wait and see. We've seen him at Roma, and he ended up just about where they should have ended up. A dark time at Roma. He got them fifth, to be fair. It wasn't terrible. He did a good job at Lille.
And it's fun to watch, at least.
Milan were very cautious. I would almost be pissed off if I were Fonseca. It wasn't exactly a flattering deal. It's like a 2-year contract. He's only getting around between 2 to 4 million. So a very cautious approach by me. I don't think they showed this is definitely our guy, they were saying to the media. Numbers don't lie, man. Table,
yes, bro, absolutely. I also worry. Leao is my biggest concern, to be fair. The fact that he'll be playing inside, and the fact that if you're dominating possession and playing primarily in your opponent's half, you're taking out the biggest strength of the team, which is Leao on the break.
100%.
Leao is good. He's a good technical player, but that's not what he excels at. Again, he excels on the burst, on the break, where he'll take it to the byline, as we always say. So yes, I think Leao will have to adapt and improve his game. But
I think
then I think
Pulisic, it might work really well for Pulisic.
And Chukwueze would thrive in the system. Okafor maybe as well would do well.
Something interesting. Okafor will do well,
they're
definitely,
very
especially
technical,
off
these
the
guys.
ball with the press. He'll do very well in a more central area. That being said, Fonseca has always had attacking midfielders that overperform with him, like what he did with Mkhitaryan at Roma, who was on double figures, goals and assists. Is Ruben Loftus-Cheek that man for Fonseca is the question mark. And it's a big question mark. We'll see. There's a lot of interesting little details in the way that he plays that might clash with the current setup that Milan have.
Yes.
But he has time to refine it.
Absolutely.
This isn't overnight success at the end of the day.
Shall we move on to Monza?
Yes, what a
Monza.
cool one, bro.
Yes, a cool one, but it kind of puts them a little bit down on the table for me.
I don't know. We
don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
One of my favorite defenders,
completely.
top 2 favorite defenders in history, this guy.
Alessandro
Nesta.
is the manager of Monza. Man.
Wow.
We have Gilardino at Genoa, Nesta at Monza, Brocchi ruining our lives.
I don't even want to talk about him as a manager. He's so great, guys. Nesta is perfect.
Awesome,
Nesta is the best.
Apparently, he plays quite a defensive game, a 3-5-2. We'll see. It should be good for Monza if he plays a 3-5-2. But
Nesta
Monza
playing a defensive game, no.
It's always had Monza have always had these offensive, smooth, fluid patterns, and I think I'm gonna miss them. But maybe Palladino can get that going at
Fiorentina.
Yeah.
That being said, Nesta to Monza, classic Italian figure on the byline. Berlusconi, his spirit lives on in this club, fully Italian.
Absolutely. Through his son now. Napoli have Antonio Conte, which means for me, top 4 is guaranteed almost for them.
Let me be the devil's advocate. I agree with you, likely. Let me just play devil's advocate. Because the style that has given him success in Italy with Juve and Inter, that style of play is now not the style that is bringing the best results. Now, I'm not going to say because he hasn't managed with Spurs, because no one manages with Spurs, man. You need to be God to manage with Spurs. But he's made it work with Chelsea as well, right? So he's made it work with Italy. So we've seen that his style and his system can get you results. But with that being said, we haven't seen him in Serie A in a while now. Last time we saw him, he won the league with Inter. Very different time, though. Very different time. We're talking 4 years ago.
But Inter won the league last season with the same
not the same style of play. He's way more defensive.
Yes,
Conte's way more defensive. Conte has that slight Mourinho. He has that slight Mourinho touch to his game.
He does. But systematically, it's very similar. Structurally,
Systematically, I think it's very different, actually. And with that being said as well, the atmosphere in Naples isn't exactly 100%. We saw the mess that it was last season, how quick and rash they were to make certain decisions.
Turn, bro.
But they'll turn. What happens when you have 2 people with massive dicks in one room? What does happen? But you know where I'm going with this. Him and De Laurentiis can butt heads very easily.
I think they will most likely clash. However, man, results affect everything. If he has a poor start and De Laurentiis starts yapping, Conte isn't going to take that shit.
And I also think a bad sign is him saying that Di Lorenzo is so crucial to his system.
Di Lorenzo is going to be very good next season under Conte. I can tell you because Conte is going to go in this dressing room. He's going to tell them everyone is laughing at you. Everyone out there is mocking you. Everyone. You won the league, you celebrated, you go to Naples, everyone in the street are still celebrating that victory, and you finish 10th, the 10th best team in Italy, an average team, an average Serie A team. He's going to be like, everyone's making fun of you, it's us against the world. We have to prove everyone wrong, and he's going to gas them up. Kvaratskhelia is going to play with foam coming out of his mouth. You know, Di Lorenzo is going to be red with passion, like the way they're going to be playing. Bro, he's going to transform these guys. Honestly, we've seen it too many times with Conte.
We have. Again, just playing devil's advocate. Conte back in Italy, when I feel like the Italian league has progressed in certain ways since he was last appointed. When he won the league, there wasn't, let's say, as much competition as there is nowadays. I do think that Conte is one of the greatest managers to ever grace Serie A, honestly. And I think he can get a team like Napoli and improve them significantly, as he did with Inter back in the day. And he's the one that started that reign off at Juventus, you know. So, great manager. He can literally get a 10th place team and put them into the Champions League. But I wouldn't be so quick to say that it's guaranteed, because even if he goes in, he makes the signings that he needs and he fires up the players, there's still a lot of getting used to. At the end of the day, he can't do miracles.
Yeah.
That's what he can't do.
Fair enough. Very close to miracles, though, sometimes.
I mean, he won the league with Juve. He won the league with Inter, who had the best team in the league. He won the league with Chelsea, that were having success around that time.
It was his first ever season in the Premier League.
Let's be honest.
He landed in the plane and boarded it again, left, and he had a trophy.
They had won it with Mourinho recently before that as well. They had won the Champions League recently before that with Di Matteo as well. He's never won the Champions League with Porto.
He's not a knockout manager. In summer, then he had the Euros. But
he finished last in the group stages of the Champions League. Thankfully, he only has the Serie A to worry about, which is huge.
A great strength for him.
And he'll willingly get knocked out of the Coppa immediately. He doesn't give a fuck.
Probably. He'll play some of those Napoli guys who went out, those kids who went to France when Osimhen was there. Exactly. Like, you're going to get your moment, guys. Come back from the bakery. So
Victor Moses, welcome back to Italy, bro.
Victor Moses, welcome back. Parma have confirmed Pecchia, which is interesting. You can go to our Serie B episode to learn a little bit about him. He has a balanced approach, midfield control, disciplined defending. He's a successful Serie B manager, this guy. And he usually plays a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1 system. And Parma ran away with it last season in Serie B. They played really well.
I always like to see when teams get promoted to Serie A and they keep the manager that got them there from Serie B. It's interesting to see how it translates, because I feel like Parma were one of those teams that, at least going forward, could rely on their talent within the front three, with Barnaby and co. And Dennis Mann, obviously, and Mihala. It's just interesting to see how that attacking freedom that they had is going to translate in Serie A.
Yeah. It will definitely be interesting to see. I think many people will have them to go back down, to be honest. But there are a few teams in Serie A who are struggling more than the guys coming up, much more, especially financially. Roma have confirmed De Rossi, and he deserves it, to be honest. We've seen what he can do. It's a surprising game he plays, considering what he was as a player. His whole profile as a player was grit, passion, determination, all that shit. Take nothing away from him technically, but that was his game, And now he plays this fluid, modern football, which is really nice to watch. And Roma have found quite a lot of success with De Rossi.
I'm interested to see what acquisitions Roma are going to make, because they still had certain drawbacks, particularly with their depth, because Mourinho made the classic Mourinho signings for Roma, where they onboarded a lot of injury-prone players, the Renato Sanchez's of the world, and that led to them having a lack of squad depth, which I think should be a strong focus for Roma, especially when they're competing in so many competitions. Obviously the Europa League, unfortunately for them, but they will need to. I think that's the main area that they will look to improve, and maybe the left wing region, because El Shaarawy, like we said earlier, a team like Roma deserves a better winger.
I was going to tell you, they struggle with depth, bro. Their third choice winger starts for Italy. But yes, they do need to fix the team. They're coming off a bit of a financial mess where they overspent and they're in the red, so they're still recovering from that. I think De Rossi is a good guy to steady the ship with.
Yeah. And he just has everyone's respect. He has everyone's respect. Even if you don't support Roma. If you support Lazio, you respect De Rossi.
And he's super composed as well, media and all that. Very good, very good guy.
Yeah.
Torino have brought on Paolo Vanoli.
Very interesting.
Yeah, who's Paolo Vanoli? He's the guy at Venezia who got them promoted
Refer back to our last Serie B episode.
He has this whole system where they launch long balls, press really high, press when the opponent dispossesses them to try to get the ball back and force more errors and breakthroughs. It's a very interesting approach, and Torino are going to look very different, man. It's been the Turin sides are changing
loads, and what I'm mainly looking forward to about Vanoli at Torino is the midfield. Ricci, Ilic, the way that he uses his midfielders, especially involving them in the attacking phase like he did with Tessman and Buzio in Serie B, could translate really well for Torino, who will play a bit more of an offensive brand of football. We won't see 9-0 draws with Vanoli. It'll be a bit more open, it'll be a bit more end-to-end. Like we saw with Venezia, they were never a guarantee to go up, you know, they were the hustlers.
Yeah, even though project-wise, they're one of the most promising. Venezia, they've got rich owners, they have... in theory, a good sporting director in the project, so we'll see. Their plan is to stay.
We'll go for sure. Next season, we take the girls to Venice, bro.
Why make it so expensive, bro? Get on a gondola, bro, with the curva. Remember that?
Oh my god!
Funny you see Milan's curva sud, always shirtless men with their flares and they're on a gondola. Two things that don't match at all. Venice as a backdrop and the Milan.
But this is Serie A, bro. That's what I love. Fucking Venice, you have to go to the stadium in a gondola. How fucking brilliant is that, man?
Lit. Yeah. To get into Luton's stadium, you have to go through someone's backyard.
And in London stadium, you need to stop yourself from getting stabbed, bro.
You
Come on.
You
ruined it.
So Udinese have signed a guy as a manager called Costa Runjaic, who I had never heard of. They failed to redeem Cannavaro. Apparently there was an attempt, but they didn't agree. Both parties didn't agree. Probably the project wasn't as exciting for Cannavaro, or maybe they couldn't offer certain guarantees. But yes,
Costa
this guy
Runjaic. He was at Legia Warsaw and he won the Polish Cup and Super Cup.
He had successful stints in German lower leagues as well. He's known for improving team performances.
Okay.
We'll see.
Good for you, bro. Question mark, obviously, because we know absolutely nothing about him. It is, however, what we said, that I respect that they didn't go for a Gotti or a D'Aversa or a Zanetti. And they're trying something a little bit new. They should be quick to act if it's looking devastatingly shit. But Udinese, the only scary thing is that they're in the red zone, eh? They are relegation candidates in today's day and age.
Yes, they are. But they have a young team nowadays, because it wasn't always the case with Udinese. And there's a lot of upside to them. One good season can totally change Udinese as a football team with all the talent they have. You know, if they get Luka having a fantastic season, for example, he's already, I think, on the radar of some teams with the performance and the unique profile.
They just redeemed him for 8 million.
Yes, from
Pisa.
Which is funny because he is the Leaning Tower of Pisa.
Literally.
You remember when Pisa had Torre Grossa? That's hilarious.
Brilliant.
That translates to Fat Tower, by the way. Torre Grossa. Amazing. So yes, we'll see. I'm excited to see Udinese as well next season.
Yeah.
Venezia have employed Eusebio Di Francesco.
Which is
attacking football, quick transitions, barely any defending. The high lines.
This is a head scratcher in my opinion. They had a good thing going with Vanoli. It doesn't mean, my God, sorry, I smacked the microphone. God, I hope it's not ringing. That happens when we hit the mic.
Yeah.
Right.
Fuck it.
I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
So that good thing going with Vanoli, it doesn't mean they should keep him on forever, you know. But Di Francesco, he's been relegated last season with Frosinone. Yes, he did well because he had the right attacking players and he plays offensive football.
Took it to the last day. he had
you
success
know,
at Sassuolo. That's the thing that's keeping him.
he had
in Serie A.
success 10 years ago.
That's
like,
what's keeping him in Serie A. That the fact that he managed to take Sassuolo to European football. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy. Yes.
it is crazy,
So-
but come on.
We'll see what he can do. Venezia's players and system, I guess, suit an offensive-minded manager. But this was the same mistake when they were in Serie A last time.
Yeah.
This and the fact that they didn't, like, they had an offensive manager, and the fact that they didn't get players who were experienced in Serie A. So we'll see if they repeat that mistake. or not.
I think thankfully they have a squad that a lot of them have already experienced Serie A, yes, for one season and they got relegated, but like Buzio, for example, he has a few Serie A caps under his belt.
There's one season, that's not really enough though.
No.
Speaking of, Paolo Zanetti, who was the man who did get Venezia relegated that season, who also fought with Henry, punching him, pushing
grabbed
him,
him, like grabbed him from the shirt.
and calling him an asshole.
Yeah. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
He is like...
He has been appointed by Hellas Verona, Paolo Zanetti, which is quite interesting. I think Verona are in trouble here. We'll see. Of course, we'll see how they move in the market. But
Didn't Empoli try it with Zanetti as well? To be fair, Empoli weren't dreadful under Zanetti. But, you know, again, this is just one of the managers that's like, who's available? He's available. Bring him in.
yeah,
Because he's been with teams of a similar level. They're not going to take it to the next level. They might have a good start, but over 38 games, we know where these managers and these teams are going to end up when they partner up, man. Some of them are going to get sacked. Some of them, they're going to show faith in them and they're going to narrowly escape relegation. They're going to remain exactly as they are if they hire these managers. It's as simple as that, in my opinion.
fair enough.
He's
fair
never
enough.
really impressed me. I know he's a young manager like Zanetti. I know with Empoli, that season when they had just gotten promoted, they played a nice brand of football with a lot of short passes and kind of position based for a team of their size. But again, just we know where they're gonna end up, 15th lower.
Yeah. And they survived last season because of how defensively sound Baroni was, and they're not getting a defensively sound
Exactly,
manager
at all.
So we'll see.
All. Now, we jump to the players. So those were the Serie A teams and an update on their managers. The players, I think we could skim through a little bit more because I think there are some players we know less about, and I think there's just less activity overall because of the Euros for the time being.
Yes.
And there are some moves that you're already aware about, so redemptions, so on and so forth. Right?
Yes. I have a nice list over here of players who have come into the league. We're not going to be looking at departures too much because we already kind of discussed the players who are leaving throughout the regular season, to be honest. Like the likes of, like Kamada, Luis Alberto, Osimhen. It's been we've been new who's leaving basically. So let's start off with Atalanta. They have redeemed Charles De Ketelare from Milan after his successful season in Bergamo. This cost them 22 million euros, and they'd be happy to keep him, I think, after his performance.
He really came out of his shell at Atalanta, and he's in the right place if he wants to continue to grow and develop into a good footballer. Quite expensive in that regard. I think 25 million plus add-ons is what they had to end up spending because obviously Milan had to make their money back. 22 million plus add-ons because Milan had to make their money back. But still opportunity because he's so young. There's still an opportunity for them to make a markup in the future. De Ketelare in the future, I don't see any reason why he can't hit a caliber where a team signs him for 50 million. He just needs to get more consistent. Keep in mind, this was his second season in Serie A, and before he was playing in Belgium. He can absolutely become one of the top players in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's got his age on his side. He's playing in a place where he's loved and where his confidence is very high. So I think very smart by CDK to stay there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to force the affair because he made it very clear that he wanted to stay there. They signed Ben Godfrey from Everton. Ben Godfrey cost them 10 million. He's a defender who brings a lot of versatility to the backline, apparently.
So, they like these kind of players, Atalanta. They signed Kolasinac last season, who is of not a similar profile, but he can play left back and he can play centre back. Ben Godfrey gives you something similar in that regard. We know Gasperini likes versatile players. He's played for Everton. That's where they signed him from. Before that, he was at Norwich, where actually he was signed. Is this correct that they signed him for 27.5 million from Norwich?
Potentially, that's quite Premier League of them.
Yeah, it's crazy.
According to Santi and Theo, who are two of our patrons, they've both been on the podcast actually.
Yes,
Theo during the World Cup, and Santi when we were in Amsterdam, and we had Santi Amintov cover the episodes for us, which is amazing, by the way. I still listen to those episodes every now and then.
They're
so
great,
funny,
man.
so
They're
funny.
great.
It's funny listening to our podcast with two different hosts.
Hey,
it's
really
interesting.
It's like the remake of Ghostbusters.
Exactly. So Santi said that this was a very good signing and that he's built for a back three, this guy. And Theo said he's solid, especially for that price, which is quite Atalanta, you know what I mean, getting these bargains. He is 6 feet tall, not the biggest, but apparently he's quite tough as well. So
Jamaican English,
the best. Yes, they've also signed Lorenzo Bernasconi.
I think Bernasconi. He's been involved in Atalanta's minors, like under 19, under 23. So he started like his career with Cremonese as under 17s, and then he was snapped up by Atalanta's under 19s. And then he was loaned back out from Atalanta's under 23s to Cremonese, and now they've made it official after paying a fee of 950,000 for him.
He's
just
young, right?
20 years old. He was born at Crema in Slema.
Wow. Lucky
Crema,
him.
Italy, in Lombardia. Still a young guy. I don't imagine he'd get so many minutes, but could be one for the future for Atalanta.
And it probably will be, judging by the recruitment history.
Yeah.
So that's it for Atalanta when it comes to official deals. Some moves, obviously, it's still very early days. Coop Miners, what's going to happen with him?
I do want to mention one rumor because it's quite close in that regard, and it's Zaniolo. Zaniolo with a loan from Aston Villa and an option to buy for 17 million.
Something like that, exactly. I think
which is interesting.
2017.
Which is interesting because, you know, we've seen what happened with Boga at Atalanta. They don't typically play with wingers unless they play in a 3-4-3 formation, which they kind of moved away from.
But Zaniolo at this stage in his career might
with less legs, with less legs.
He doesn't. He's not expected to bomb. You know, the possession base. He has the ball.
Atalanta are very good at landing people with a loan, and then they have the option to trigger the purchase.
So like they rehabilitate them. They pump them with that special Atalanta syrup.
Steroids.
Yeah. And they're good to go. Yes, very good observation, bro. Jeez. Bologna have signed Emil Holm, which I love. I love this move.
Yes. Holm, we rated him a lot last season. I'm surprised he moved.
7 million from Atalanta. Like, do people not rate this guy? 7 million for Holm.
I really, really liked him last year, bro. What? So that they keep fucking Zappacosta?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. Emil Holm is how old nowadays? Let's see. He's 24. It's a bargain.
It's a young
7 million. Very good recruitment. From Bologna, as always. He's Swedish. This guy is known for his physicality and his ability to bomb up and down the wing. He's a dangerous threat offensively, and he's tough defensively as well.
And good in the air. Good in the air as well. We saw him get to the end of some for Atalanta.
Massive, he's a big guy. Remember, he wasn't playing when we watched. Never mind. They've also got Juan Miranda.
This is the guy from Betis, right? Previously at Barca. He's represented Betis, Barca, and back in the day he also had a short stint at Schalke in Germany. Very short. It was a loan transfer actually. He's still a young guy, 24 years old, but somewhat rated with Betis. He's put in good performances there. So again, Bologna are smart with these signings, so I am confident that they saw something in him which he could bring to Serie A.
whatever they pay, 40% of it is going to Barca, though.
Yeah, exactly.
And he also scored the winning goal in the penalty shootout for Real Betis in the 2022 Copa del Rey final, this guy.
Oh, wow.
So he's got aura.
The most aura I've seen in a penalty shootout, apart from obviously Pirlo's penalty. I'm obviously clearly exaggerating over here. It's not Harry Maguire, guys. But when Vasquez was young and Real Madrid went to penalties against, was it Atletico? Against Atletico in the undecima, I think. He was stepping up. He was a young guy, like 24 years old, and he's walking up to take the penalty, and he's spinning the ball on his fingers. It's just like a kid playing around.
Something similar recently, no, in the Champions League.
It's his brand now. It's his brand now. So he keeps it up.
He's cold.
Yeah,
Kier also has taken some bloody cold penalties, and in that shootout in Portugal, Rio Ave, in the rain, remember those conditions, and Kier just steps up, he's drenched, that looks like a Viking. And
you even mentioning that makes me feel weird, man. That Rio Ave game was
horrible,
not fun.
Back in the day, and the trenches. So Cagliari have lost Dos Sena,
which sucks. Where's Dos Sena? Okay, I know nothing.
And they've replaced him with Luperto, which is great. So they've almost replaced like for like here, because they're both defenders. So when you look at them, you think they're like 32 in their prime, experienced veteran defenders, but they're actually on the in their mid-20s.
I think Luperto's a bit older than Dos Sena.
27 maybe, something like that. Let's see.
I think Dos Sena's like 23, no?
So Luperto's 27. No, Dos Sena's probably older than 23. Dos Sena is 42. No, that's wrong. That's the wrong Dos Sena.
Right.
What's
Cagliari,
his first
Como,
name?
whatever, just right. Calcio or something. 25. He's a bit younger.
Yes. Okay, awesome. Yeah, like for like over there, very smart business. I'm seeing Luperto reunited with Davide Nicola as well.
Yes.
Cool. And that is it for Cagliari as they look through their coins. Like
I doubt they're signing anyone from the Euros, to be fair.
Exactly.
The ones that they're signing are already knocked out, probably.
Exactly. Like, oh, this Calafiori guy. Como,
he has this aura, man, this guy.
Como are moving mad.
Yes, so, very active already. I like that.
They've brought in Andrea Bellotti from Fiorentina for 4.5 million.
Excellent signing.
Signing.
Because if he's not going to bang in the goals, guys, he's going to bring incredible hustle, which is what a relegation battling side needs.
Yeah, exactly. And it's he's got a lot of experience, and he can carry a team. He's a great teammate. He's a great leader. He's a great captain. Bellotti, you can say what you want about him. People like to meme him, but I think any manager will be happy to have Bellotti, and to see him under Fabregas, who's got a very particular philosophy and approach. Maybe we'll get a new version of Il Gallo. So we'll see. 4.5 million seems like a steal, though. In Italy, it's almost like they're 10 years behind with these prices. Dos Sena, acquired from Cagliari, of course, defensively sound. So they've bolstered their defense and their attack massively. Dos Sena was massive for Cagliari
They've only
last season.
spent 12.5 million in those regards. Dos Sena, 8 of them on Dos Sena.
And they have 2 starters.
Dos Sena, when we watched them live, man, against Atalanta, what he was doing with Scamacca was great. Everyone next to us was in awe of Dos Sena's performance, and so were we.
Yeah, and he was loved over there. In fact, on the magazine.
He's off.
You can see over here, senza paura. No fear. And it's Dos Sena, no fear.
You like that? You enjoyed the little stroll? You feel like you stretched a bit?
I stretched a bit. That was good, to be honest.
Nice.
I think I'll move around, We've got our studio.
Yeah, it's huge. Nice.
Yes. Petagna stepped on that.
Yes. So we'll lick it every now and then.
Petagna's in our intro, by the way. Check it out on YouTube. Marco Curto is a 25-year-old centre-back from Sütterol. I can't say I know a lot about him, but he was a regular for them. And he formed part of a Sütterol team which played pretty well, to be honest. They did well. They made the playoffs, I know, the season before, not last season.
He has been... He's been back and forth from Sütterol and Como. He's been jumping between both teams. There was some kind of ownership, loan, so on and so forth. At a point, he was at Empoli as well. He's been around a little bit for the age of 25. Scuola Milan, which is
very
good to note. Came up through Milan's youth team and then signed for Regina. So yeah, I mean, he'd be a well-trained player and has decent experience. I'm not too sure if he'll be starting for Como, especially, with Südtirol. They're not the grandest team in Serie B. But we'll wait and see what's to come of young Marco Curto.
Yeah, we'll see. Fiorentina have signed Moise Kean.
We can end the episode here, to be honest.
For 13 million plus 2 million in add-ons. Now, people might write off Moise Kean quickly.
He's a good player, Kean. He's a good player. He's a good player.
And he burst onto the scene at an early age. Similar to Micah Richards, right?
But do they have beef with signing non-streaky players?
Yes.
Why do they only sign gambles, bro? They only sign gambles. They sign players that show 4 seasons in a day, essentially.
Yeah. That's so spot on. It's true. This is a massive problem that Fiorentina have when it comes to recruitment. However, Moise Kean might be worth the risk over here, unlike Mbala in Zola, for example.
He's well-rounded, and there are times once Moise Kean came on against Milan, and I was like, oh my god, this guy is ridiculous. Like, he had such a good game. When he has time to run at defenders, he can actually be quite a scary figure. Keep in mind, this is a player that also played for PSG deep into the Champions League, starting as a winger. So there's definitely some element of use for him in this Fiorentina team.
Absolutely, and we've seen that Palladino's systems do include a lot of technical freedom for players. We saw Colpani, we saw Daniel Maldini as well, kind of having moments where they take on a player or two. So Kean, maybe I could even deploy him on the wing. He's only 24 years old, which is crazy because he's been around since he was 16, so it's been almost a decade of us knowing who Moise Kean is.
Yeah.
The worst thing that ever happened to Kean was Ronaldo joining Juve because
they cashed
Juve's
in, to
hand
Everton.
exactly was forced to kind of sell him to Everton for 30 million.
Yeah.
30 million bid by Everton means that he was the real cheese back then.
And then the real cheese. But you know how many points got deducted from Everton for financial fair play or corruption or whatever it was? Twice they got deducted points, man.
He had a nightmare over there, poor guy.
You remember, it was Ancelotti that brought him on, then brought him off after 10 minutes. It was Ancelotti.
Was that Kean?
Yes, and
shit.
Ancelotti was at Everton, bro.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Then went back to Real and won the Champions League again, and then La Liga and all
Can you
that.
imagine that? That's hilarious. Like,
I wonder what the frick he was doing, man.
just vibes, eh?
Just vibes.
A new challenge. why not?
Merseyside.
Well, yes. Seen all the pictures of Ancelotti on holiday are such a vibe, man. Sad day. There was one picture of him. He was there in his swimsuit. He had one girl, one hand on his wife's bottom, and the other hand on a cigarette.
Yes.
Just
You should see him back
So
in the
Italian.
day when smoking cigarettes on the bench in Serie A was legal. He was just huffing and puffing away, bro.
compilation videos on TikTok.
Literally.
Of these. Hilarious. So yes, Fiorentina will have Moise Kean next season. Genoa have redeemed Vitinha for 15 million. Quite a big. You see, they have money, man. Genoa, 15 million. That's quite a lot compared to Lecce. 1 million here. 1 million there. Yeah, 15 million is good. But Vitinha looked promising.
Yes. He had good movement.
Lots of injuries, but he was good when he played. They've also redeemed Koni de Winter from Juventus for 8 million. Young Belgian defender was solid for them.
So they've spent 23 million here, huh?
Yeah,
Genoa
I'm telling you, bro,
already.
777.
Okay, they're 23 million on redemptions. Ouch.
Yes.
But keep in mind, the biggest redemption that they made was of Alberto Gilardino.
Yes, the second best redemption behind Bob Marley's song. Inter have brought in Josep Martinez from Genoa for 13 million. 13 million plus 2, so that's Vitinha covered. Smart business, bro.
Man.
Smart business. Spanish goalkeeper.
Redemption Sanga.
Might be a long-term solution for Inter because Sommer isn't getting any younger, of course, and they don't want the Handanovic situation to repeat itself. He's a reliable deputy. He was great for Genoa.
Yes. Amazing. Solid.
They brought in Zielinski on a free from Napoli.
We've known about this for around
yes,
6 months
yes.
now, right? Which led to Zielinski getting phased out of Mazzarri's
I wonder if
Napoli.
his consistency will improve, Zielinski, under Inzaghi, because he's always struggled with consistency, hasn't he?
Again, I wonder where he's going to fit as well, because if you look at the balance of that team, well, he'll operate in probably more towards the final third, the same way Mkhitaryan did. I think
Yes, I
Barella
think-
will remain the box to box, and I think Çalhanoğlu will remain the regista.
Yes.
He's a good fit for that team. Just takes some getting used to for him anyway, because Inter's system is very particular.
They've also brought in Mehdi Taremi, who was close to joining Milan, but there was a problem with was it commissions or salary?
Commissions.
Bro, fuck you.
No.
I know you like commissions.
Love commission.
Matthew works in sales.
Cha-ching.
Yeah, you could sell a pen to a handless man. He's Iranian, Taremi, if I'm not mistaken. We made a mistake once and we called him...
Oh God!
Yeah,
Don't bring it back up, bro. Don't bring. What's this? Bringing back the political errors that we
And
made.
Porto will be very happy to see him leaving because he was dreadful after his links to Milan. He wasn't quite the same afterwards. So we'll see. He'll probably have a new lease of
He's
life at
passed
Inter.
some sly comments about Milan.
Guaranteed goal against Milan.
Yeah,
Guaranteed.
lost, yeah.
Guaranteed.
Him and Thuram in the same
Yes,
game.
Exactly.
Can shoot me.
Juve have been moving mad.
Juve so far have had the best mercato. The best.
By far, I think.
Because obviously they got Motta. They got Di Gregorio, who was the best keeper last season. To be honest, he's been a top goalkeeper. You remember the season Monza came up, they signed Cranio, and we're like, great. And we're like, Di Gregorio. Wow, this guy is fucking insane. Like, he'll be called up for Italy's next competition for sure.
Absolutely. It has to be Donnarumma, Vicario, Di Gregorio, and it's
For
a shame for
sure,
Vicario
they
and
are.
Di
Those
Gregorio.
three are a step ahead of the rest of the Italian goalkeepers. A significant step.
I think so.
Donnarumma and the Euros
Donnarumma
was amazing.
He reminded me, man, of this is how Donnarumma has been since he was 16. By the way,
literally.
He got bigger, he's beefier.
He's more now,
he's
you know
more
what
like
I mean?
gorilla-esque.
Exactly.
Like, bro, he's
Caesar.
so agile and he's so commanding in his
It
area.
was
He's
great, it was great.
That's improved. His commanding of the area has improved a lot because he would come out for crosses a bit poorly with me when he was younger. One thing that remains weak is his distribution. It's almost comical. He isn't a football player.
No.
He's a goalkeeper.
Bro, his most common pass was the Kessie used to go onto the penalty spot to receive the ball
Even at
from
the Euros,
him.
he wouldn't take the goal kicks. Like you
Literally,
see
bro.
defenders taking them.
But
there was a point he
wow.
lost the ball. He almost gave Croatia a goal. I think it was same mistakes he's been making.
Croatia's where he saved the penalty and then saved that shot amazingly, and they scored the rebound.
Yes, but there was a moment he gave the ball directly to the
be.
opposition, and then he pulled off an amazing.
Could be. Yeah. But wow, man, Donnarumma, we call him over here.
Yes.
But yes, Di Gregorio, not Donnarumma, signed for Juve. Important.
Douglas Luiz, who is very highly rated, 26 years old. He's transferring from Aston Villa, and this move is very interesting because it involved a 3-man, 1-woman swap. I swear to God, I'm not taking the piss.
What do you mean? Because I'm seeing the note here and I don't know what it means.
So, Barrenechea and Illing Jr. will be going to Aston Villa.
Really good Aston Villa. Great business.
Douglas Luiz and his wife, who is also a footballer, will be joining Juventus.
She's a footballer? That's what you mean?
Yes.
Oh my God.
They signed her as well.
Oh
She's like Antonio Donnarumma. Digao, back in the Kaká.
Literally.
Hilarious.
Kefren Thuram nowadays as well.
Yeah. Douglas Luiz, have you seen him? Do you know much about him? Because I've heard he's very dynamic and very good.
He's definitely a great ball player. Can control the tempo really good, and just has a great feel for a football. These are words given to me by Theo, who described him as a world-class midfielder. Okay. We know Aston Villa finished 4th, I believe, in the Prem. They got Champions League, and he was very much the center of that. So huge, because this is Thiago Motta, we're saying, who approved probably to get this guy signed, right? This guy is going to be the center of his project.
Yes.
So massive signing. This is Juve's future we're looking at.
Absolutely, for both the men's team and the women's team.
Exactly.
I wonder if they'll try for Coupe Miners. If they manage that, it would be ridiculous and unfair.
Yeah, literally. Financial fair play.
They've also signed Thiago Giallo from Lille. He was at Milan, Thiago Giallo, if you remember.
Oh my god,
Yes.
it's the same one,
It's
the
the
same
same
Giallo.
Yes, he's got good potential. He's been playing very well in France. So yeah. Cool, we can move on to Lazio, who we've already discussed. They've brought in Ciauna for 8 million to Salernitana and giving them basically one of their record ever sales. They've done the same thing to Hellas Verona, signing Noslin, another one of their record sales for Hellas Verona. They're just giving everyone record sales over here at Lazio. They've signed a guy from Turkey called Tom Delebashiru for 7 million. He's a Nigerian midfielder and he had quite an impressive season in Turkey. And they've also signed a 19-year-old Spanish attacking midfielder from Barca's academy, Cristo Munoz. They brought him in for free. And apparently, quite a few Barcelona news platforms have criticized the fact that they let him go for free. He's quite a talent. So this might be like Romero 2.0. That didn't end very well, but yes.
Well, there's still
time, but I don't even think Milan own him anymore.
No.
I don't think
He's out
sent
on
him.
loan, man.
I don't know.
Isn't Romero out on
I
loan?
think they might have sold
Christian
him.
Romero, I believe. Christian, is it?
Christian Romero. No,
No,
not
he's of
Christian.
Spurs,
Yes.
the one that was at Atalanta.
Romero, what the hell was his name?
Milan.
Luca Romero.
Luca Romero.
Oh, I clicked the wrong link. Fuck!
I think he is.
Almeria, yes. On loan from AC Milan,
Milan.
but I think they had an option or something or an obligation. Once again, we'll confirm on another day.
No, but again, just these signings by Lazio. It's cool that they're signing young players, and it's cool they're signing players from the from the lower rankings of the Serie A table. But again, you'd want to see more staple signings. The fact that Immobile is at the age which he is now, and Tati Castellanos, before he plays football, he flips a coin and says, all right, I'm either going to play bad or I'm going to play shit. I'm either going to play shit or I'm going to play well, rather.
Okay, I was going to say, I thought that was on purpose.
They lost Philip Anderson, who wasn't stellar in the first place. They lost Luis Alberto. We all know they lost SMS before. So they're really degrading as a football team, and I think we need to see bigger moves. Even the fact that they got Baroni as the manager just feels a bit like what are your goals here as a football team? I could be stood to be corrected. It's still the 3rd of July. There's still months of the summer market to go on.
They can splash, they haven't spent that much. They can
It's
still
true.
bring in a
It's
decent player. And they got quite a bit of money from the Luis Alberto sale. Of course, not as much as they would have made had they sold him in his prime, but they made 10 million. I'm telling you, man, Italy's surviving from like deals with China, deals with America, deals with Saudi Arabia. They really ride the wave. They hop on. Smart. Lecce have been also moving mad in their little chaotic selves, like their little structured. It's not chaotic, actually. It's very structured, their signings. Remember last season were like Pontus Almqvist, who's he? And he scored in the opening. They had a pretty decent season.
True.
Guys, if you have any information about the players that we're mentioning over here, do send it to us. We'll screenshot it and post it on our
Because
Instagram
we
stories.
certainly know nothing about the three that are coming up right
So
now.
this is Kialonda Gaspar, who's a 26-year-old centre-back from Angola, brought from Estrela in Portugal for 2 million. Christian Fruchtl, who's German, 24 years old, and is a goalkeeper brought in from Austria Vienna for 1 million. I assume he'll be the backup.
Well, this guy was owned by Bayern Munich, huh? This guy was with Bayern Munich's youth team, actually was in the squad of Bayern Munich, and then he had a few loans he was loaned out to Nuremberg, then he had a permanent transfer to Austria Vienna, and now the next move is Lecce.
We'll see.
This could be a good move.
Yeah. Will the Falcon be displaced?
We'll see.
Tete Morente is another one they signed. 27-year-old Spanish left winger signed from Elche in the 2nd division in Spain on a free. Now, this
Scuola
might be
Atletico.
interesting. This might be a regular in their team. 27 years old. Seems like a player in his prime,
But from Elche, before Elche he was at Malaga, before Malaga he was at Lugo, before Lugo he was at Gymnastique.
does he score? He's got 17 goals in 133 appearances for Elche. Not crazy. But we'll see the type of player.
But we'll see some of these players really come to life.
And to be honest, you score 3 goals in a season, you could save Lecce, like, you could save their season. You could save them from relegation.
He also has 9 of his goals came in La Liga with 8 assists. 14 of his goals came in the second division of Spain with 10 assists.
Fair enough. Now, Milan...
Redemptions only.
Have redeemed Jovic. Do you agree?
Yes.
Why not?
He's done enough. He's
a good option off the bench. But I hope Milan never have to start him. And Alex Jimenez, the young fullback that we saw, the Theo deputy, has been redeemed for 5 million from Real Madrid. However, they do have a buyback.
These Real Madrid deals are exhausting, bro. Exhausting. How they managed to give Milan so much freedom with Theo Hernandez and then like just permanent, take him, he's gone kind of thing. Because what they did with Brahim essentially was torture for any Milan fan whatsoever. Because you fall in love with Brahim. Whether he's playing well or not, you fall in love with him. Jimenez looks cool, man. Jimenez had some he had some cool moves. His game,
man.
He's brave. And and Theo is the perfect example of someone who could really learn from because they have the same strengths and the same weaknesses in that regard.
Absolutely. Yes, I'm trying to find the buyback. It's definitely included. No, it doesn't say here. But yes, they always have a buyback in these deals.
This is going to be a mystery one, guys. Mystery buyback.
Monza have signed Omari Forsen
from Manchester United.
And I asked Theo about this, and he said,
this is a good quote.
It's quite funny. I told him, I sent him a message, tell me about Omari Forsen. And he said, I've been waiting for this. When I tell you we were crying out for a striker, like we had no one. Højlund, Martial, both out. So Ten Hag turned to Forsen. He offered nothing.
Signed by Ten Hag, who signed great young talent though.
He did say that. I said in general, I think Ten Hag can spot young talent pretty well.
He was with Ajax.
He brought Mainu and Garnacho through, but I don't think he rates Forsen at all. He's young, he can develop at Monza. We'll see. I don't know much about him. Theo says he doesn't really offer much. He showed a few good touches and moments, but yes, we'll see what Nesta can do with him.
How cool, man.
Pretty cool. Napoli, of course, everything is kind of taking shape. They're rumored to be taking Spinazzola in for a free. Nothing is official. There's a centre back as well. His name escapes me that they're after, but it's not official, so we're not going to be dealing with it here. Osimhen's departure is pending. Conte has addressed it. It's pretty much confirmed. The question is where's he going to go and who's going to take him? Because he's been going on Instagram live and offending everyone and their mother.
Literally. The guy that texts him asking to calm down because it'll be better for his case. Don't make me knock your head off.
That's
cool, man.
It's pretty cool.
But he has said that Di Lorenzo and Kvara are... And he actually mentioned Lobotka as well. So those are the key pieces. Literally. Not for the Di Lorenzo one, but... For Kvara and Lobotka, those are 2 key pieces that they should keep hold of. Parma brought in Emanuele Valeri.
I'm burping a lot, bro. I don't know what's going on. Parma brought in Emanuele Valeri, who was expected to... Well, not expected. He's joined from Cremonese, Italian defender. He'll add to their defense a bit of Serie A experience over there.
Good signing by Parma. And I'm expecting to see more from them in that regard.
Yes. Roma have brought in Biba Sangare from Levante for 1.5 million. Young right back who's a future prospect. Torino brought in Adam Mazzina, the Moroccan Italian left back who we've seen at Udinese. They paid 1 million for him. These are lovely deals now. Udinese redeemed Lucca for 8 million. Very nice. And they also brought in Damien Pizarro. Now, Damien Pizarro is an interesting signing because he's 19 years old. He's a centre forward and they brought him from Colo Colo. Do you know Colo Colo? They're one of the biggest teams in Chile.
Really?
Yeah. So very interesting there. I've never seen him play, to be honest, but we'll see what he can do. Venezia have brought in Issa Doumbia, 20-year-old centre midfielder brought in from 1 million from UC Albino Leffe.
Okay.
The Albinos, as they're known as. Giorgio Altari as well, who we know very well.
Yes,
25-year-old centre-back solid brought from Cagliari for 1 million. Now, before we move on to the rumours, those are all the official transfers that have happened so far. Of course, by the time you're listening to this, things might have moved, things might have happened, but these deals should be written in stone. Now, here I have a screenshot, bro, from something I found quite interesting. Former Liverpool, listen to this headline. Former Liverpool defender Jose Enrique, now a football agent.
He was also at Newcastle, Jose Enrique.
Has offered 2 players, including Rangers' Todd Cantwell, to Lecce coach Luca Gotti, but he accidentally sent the message to the wrong Instagram account.
So firstly, who closes deals on Instagram?
Is this what they do? I keep thinking everything's so professional and serious, and they meet in suits and are they just DMing
He
each
didn't
other?
check for the blue tick.
Nowadays everyone has one. If you pay €10 a month, you get a blue tick.
How fucking funny, man.
He's like, oh bro, I'm a fan. So, hot rumours. I'm gonna spit, you react.
Okay.
Well, how far in are we so I can gauge?
1 hour 40.
Okay. So we make this quick. So Szczesny is rumored to be going to Monza, not to Saudi, apparently.
With them losing Di Gregorio, it would make sense for them to get. Szczesny's a good goalkeeper. Period.
Of course.
He's a very good goalkeeper. So he'd be a massive asset to Monza, who are allowed to sign some non-Italian players.
Yes,
I'd like to see Szczesny stay in the league, and he'll win Monza a lot of points, particularly from the spot.
They'll still have a great keeper, in fact,
exactly.
if they bring Szczesny in. Spinazzola to Napoli.
Spinazzola, to me, ever since his injury, hasn't quite been the player that he is. And under a Conte system where he's probably going to play as a wing back, I think he needs someone with a bit more legs. If he's got Di Lorenzo on one side and Spinazzola on the other one, a lot of pockets of space for wingers and midfielders to play into over there.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the most strategic signing. It's just like, bring in that guy who did well in the Euros in 2021.
If he can stay fit, it might be good under Conte, but the thing is, can he stay fit? In a 3-5-2, I mean, it's suited, it's built for him. We'll see if he can handle it. Kefren Thuram to Juve, who is Thuram's brother and therefore Thuram's son.
Don't know too much about him, to be honest. I don't know. I can't give you a genuine answer on that. I know Milan wanted Kefren Thuram, which would have been very fucking interesting.
It would have made the derby really interesting. He's 23 years old. He played for Nice. He is a midfielder, 6'4", quite imposing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, scored 9 goals in 141 appearances, but was a solid player, apparently, when it comes to appearances. So he's got quite a bit of experience. We'll see. Varane to Como.
Varane to Como would be insane, I criticize Varane because I think for the caliber of centre-back he is, quite a clumsy one. He has a lot of honours to his name, a lot of Champions League trophies for Real Madrid, around 4, I believe, a World Cup, and to be quite honest, he's always been in very dominant teams, which he didn't have to do too much defensively. He's one of those players that when I saw him at 17 at Real Madrid and I see him nowadays, he's good at the same things, he struggles at the same things. I don't think he is a world beater like everyone makes him out to be. But bringing that expertise and that experience to Como will only do them well at the end of the day. And not to say that he's not a solid defender, I just don't think that he's one of the greatest defenders of all time, like some people talk about him like he is.
Yeah.
You can ask any United fan as well who will agree with me.
Yes. However, for Como, it's
it's
phenomenal.
like Umtiti
Exactly.
at Lecce was huge, no?
Exactly. It's all about context. Yeah. Tesman is wanted by Conte, and he wants him hard. Tesman of Venezia.
Tesman is very good in like a 3-man midfield. He plays his part very well, especially like turning defense into attack as a bit more of a box to box and linking up with the winger. He's very good. Is he the standard of Napoli, and is he going to take them to a whole new level? No, but he'll be a good utility guy to bring on and to have some good squad depth. It's a risky move for Testament to make because, like I said, we barely see players and managers from bottom teams going to top teams. Technically, Napoli are a mid-table team, though, at the moment.
They are as mid-table as it gets, no?
Exactly.
Yes. You heard that, guys. You heard what they're saying. Testament is a tireless worker. I think he would be incredible under Conte, to be honest with you. I think it could make him quite an important piece in that midfield now. Be it coming on during the game or potentially even being a starter, man.
Yeah.
You never know. Buzio to Roma is another rumour.
Buzio to Roma.
I
like Testament and Buzio a lot.
I like them as well.
I hope it does. I hope none of these moves happen because I think they're pivotal to Venezia. And Venezia losing those two and losing their manager and hiring Di Francesco, I'm shitting myself for them.
I mean, it's already going to be a completely different Venezia. Might as well sell your boys. Arsenal want Calafiori for 47 million. They made an offer, apparently.
Calafiori, I think we're all very aware of his talent. I think he's hit mainstream now, which always pisses me off because we always admire players for how good they are. And then when they hit the mainstream, obviously, people get carried away. And from us rating them perfectly, they start to become overrated. And then we become part of those people almost that like overrated them.
It's bullshit.
And I
absolutely
hate it.
Well put. I never thought about that. That's insane.
And we joined, in fact, like UFC. Israel Adesanya, one of my favorite fighters. I saw him fighting when he was never that young, to be honest. But when he just started out in UFC, I adored him. The second he became world champion and after he fought Anderson Silva, everyone started going crazy about him. I'm like, okay, he's your boy now. Who's my next up and coming guy? Like,
wow, scouting for UFC talent must be weird. You're just watching children beating the shit out of each other. That's fucking strange. If you're a talent scout for the UFC, get yourself checked.
I think Calafiori gives you two good things: defensive stability and balls. He gives you balls because he scans the game very well for a defender.
He
always makes really good decisions going forward. He's not rash into giving forward passes. He won't make a forward pass if he doesn't need to. Carrying the ball forward though is a strong point. He's also very good in the air and he's defensively sound. So he'll definitely be an asset.
Chiesa to Roma.
Chiesa to Roma, interesting. Top, no? Amazing. But this sounds like a dream in an alternate universe where they both stay fully fit all the time.
That's it.
Chiesa on one side, Dybala on the other side. If you told me that 5 years ago, I would have lost my mind.
Yeah, sounds like El Shaarawy's going to be playing every week. Like, you know.
But they're both very injury prone. And Roma have to learn from their mistakes of signing these injury-prone players, man. Great move for Chiesa to a certain degree because Roma are on the up and his relationship with Juve is taking quite a turn. Yes, they just got Motta, so he could find like a new lease of life over there. This is a bit of a stretch. I find it's not going to happen. It's a bit of a stretch. It's being rumored.
Apparently, Juve want to part ways with Chiesa. Especially Motta, but we'll see. Just
it doesn't hit quite like it should.
I'm not too gassed about it. I think Chiesa is overrated, to be honest with you.
Because they had Zaniolo. He was injury prone. They have Dybala, who's injury prone.
Renato Sanchez,
who's injury prone. And now they're going to go for Chiesa, who Juve treated him like glass. I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like they're going for the name.
Absolutely. Lukaku to Milan.
I'm out.
I don't like that either.
As a sub. What a sub. But
to be the guy, no thank you.
Like I said, he's not going to start for any of the top teams in Italy.
That's we had a disagreement on that. I think that he would start for a top 7 club in Italy. And you'd still disagree, right?
Yes, for sure, 100%. You didn't see him in the fucking Euros, dog.
I did.
Shit again.
I mean,
I see him and he's just shit again all the time. He's always shit.
He was he's so
Lukaku. He was always shit.
He was so unlucky that one game where he scored 2 and they were called off for the
so unlucky. So in the first 5 minutes of the Euros, he missed a sitter that was comical again. Like
he
not a good striker.
He's a good striker with a weak mentality. With weak confidence.
When he's got his bunda towards the defender, he's just backing it up on the defender's shore.
When he's confident and when he's on, he's very difficult to play against, and he's one of the best. The problem is he's the Higuain. He's one of the Higuain types. At what he does.
That's what he does.
Holding the ball up, turning out, backing it up. Yes, he's one of these strikers like Morata, for example. Struggles with confidence. Emerson Royal to Milan.
Calabria is good at one thing. He's bad at another. Emerson Royal, if you get Emerson Royal's good things and Calabria's good things and you put them in one right back, that would be perfect. But Emerson Royal is not rated at all from anyone I've ever spoken to. I haven't seen too much of him. So many better options there.
Yes.
When you tap into Premier League hype, and you pay Premier League money to get these guys, it's bad business. It's simply bad business signing Emerson Royal from Spurs when you could sign... Who was that guy that Milan wanted from the French league? I like the look of him.
Yes, he looks really good.
He hasn't been being mentioned anymore. And with that being said, if you're not gonna upgrade in the right back department, there is someone willing to die for the team, Calabria. He has many shortcomings, but don't sign someone for the fuck of it. But because and then
you undermine the importance of the role. How the hell do you translate that?
You're underestimating Calabria's ability almost if you just sign someone for the fuck of it. So go bring anyone and we just need
Emerson Royal to me is a ridiculous option. Don't do it. Especially when Fonseca gives so much priority to his fullbacks. Please, Emerson Royal should not be the guy bombing forward.
Exactly.
Juve are interested in a Brazilian right back called Jan Quanto and an Albanian left back called Mario Mitai.
Cool, man.
Cool.
Dope.
Buongiorno to Napoli.
Did you just skip Zirkzee?
I deleted it because we've spoken too much about Zirkzee.
Fair enough. Zirkzee would be perfect for Milan. Please come to Milan. Agent, stop being a twat.
Agent.
You've done it with Tevez, you've done it with everyone. Stop, please. Buongiorno to Napoli, amazing signing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's another us against the world's contest, solid signing.
Yes. Buongiorno is one of my favorite centre backs in the league. He's excellent.
Spalletti prefers Mancini. Now, Inter want Goodmanson. But there's this thing,
man.
Yes, the charges were dropped. He's got this controversial case against him in Iceland about something that happened with a woman in a club. It was dropped, and then there was a new witness, and it was reopened, and apparently he risks 1 year to 26 years in prison or something like 1 to 26 years. That's the Icelandic law over there. I mean, if he's guilty, fuck him. If he's innocent, what a signing for Inter.
For me, I'm sorry to be that guy, but he definitely did something weird. Like,
of course.
There was definitely something weird which really puts me off. Now, again, I like watching the game for the game. I hate when these things happen and it becomes a personal thing. It's a joy to watch in that regard. But you see, I even say guilty saying that because of his off-the-pitch things. Yeah. I think it'd be a great signing for God knows how Inter if he gets out of this scot-free. What a signing by Inter. Like we mentioned, the possibility of maybe him coming to Milan, and we got excited about him as a player, but something like that doesn't.
Oh no, that's bigger than the game, and then
exactly it doesn't really tickle my fancy, man. And then Lazio interested in him. Lazio interested in Mason Greenwood.
That's it.
I think Lazio fans they do their best to stop the stigma about them being a horrible football club in the sense of their morals.
Dave,
We've
close your ears.
seen the sorry, Dave. I'm just being honest here from my perspective, but we've seen the fascism and this and that, and they defend themselves, but they're not doing any. They're clearly like, it's stupid because you know there are these talks about your team, and you go out. It's like, yeah, we're focusing on 2 players. Who are they? Goodmanson and Mason Greenwood. Nice.
Yeah.
What are you doing, man?
Greenwood is yes, something that they've
Voice
actually
recording
they've offered,
evidence.
They made an offer to United.
United.
I think it would be hilarious to see Greenwood with that red lipstick stain on the anti-domestic violence campaign thing.
He's a twat.
He's a twat. Yes, we can move on to Roma, our favourites to sign Man City left back Sergio Gomez. Very interesting.
I think Roma should be in the market for a left back, and I think a young guy from City doesn't sound too bad. Sergio Gomez.
Absolutely. Rabiot talking to Juve to extend his deal, but Milan and Real Madrid are lurking in the background.
Interesting that Real Madrid are interested in him, to be honest. I think his wage demands would be way too high for Milan.
And he does have limitations. I'm not a big fan. As in, I think he's a good player, don't get me wrong, but I ideally wouldn't want him on the team I support. Zaniolo to Atalanta we discussed. Paolo Lopez to Como. He's currently on loan at Marseille. Not a big fan of Paolo Lopez. You?
I'm just surprised he's missing the L in his first name, because all bro does is collect them. Am I right? Come on, bro,
his name
please.
would be Paul Lopez. That's hilarious.
I've never rated him. That one season he spent at Roma was abysmal, to be fair.
Morata was obviously linked with Juve, Milan and Roma, and Al-Adisa.
Al-Adis Al-Madonna.
Al-Adisa Madonna. But he's staying at Atletico. It's Al-Azia, by the way. But that's hilarious. Al-Adisa. De Zerbi is interested in Locatelli and Valentin Carboni from Juventus.
Because De Zerbi knows ball.
Yes,
De Zerbi knows ball.
Sancho's open to joining Juve, who want a loan, but United want 50 million. And those are the latest rumours. Now, how much time do we have left?
5 minutes is good.
I'm going to run you through a list of free agents. Their contract has expired, these people. Okay?
Oh, these are up for grabs from the bottom 3 teams are going to enjoy signing all these.
So, Papu Gomez, he did really well at Monza.
What are we doing? Kill, marry, fuck? Fuck.
Papu Gomez, of course, had a doping ban, but his contract's up with Monza. We'll see if he retires or what he'll do. Palomino
also had a doping ban, but he proven innocent, I believe.
No, I think he just served his ban. It wasn't.
No, I think he was proven innocent, and he missed a couple of games for nothing. Again, we'll confirm, guys.
I like Palomino as a centre back. I think it's crazy that he's free. I think Atalanta might actually they might let him go considering the players they've brought in. But we'll see what happens to Palomino. Definitely a player that teams should keep an eye out for. Yeah. He's very good, and his salary isn't high. Kier, of course.
Come to Floriano.
Stefano Sensi. Interesting to see what happens to him.
He could, like, mid-table team, he'd actually do well there. Stefano Sensi would not be crazy for Torino. It's not a crazy bad shout for a team like Torino. He did quite well at Monza when he was there. There are a couple of good teams that can use a technically gifted midfielder like Sensi. Injury prone, but he's solid.
He's available,
he's
he makes you into a pretty smooth ticking team.
Yeah.
Ansaldi for Parma, who still plays, is just a fun one. Kevin Strutman. Of course, he always signs on a 1-year deal now. Diego Demme from Napoli.
Bro fell off, Demme. Demme, he had a decent season at Napoli a couple of seasons ago, but wow, they've really lost faith in him.
Absolutely. Alexandro, Juve fans will rejoice.
It's true.
Mirante, of course, from Milan. Alexis Sanchez, Inter fans will not rejoice because it's not been bad, but his wages were high.
Yeah.
Mattia Destro is a free agent. We'll see where he ends up.
That's just cool.
Lorenzo Tonelli from Empoli, Kofi Gigi from Torino, Davy Klaassen from Inter is already a free agent.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a short contract.
Yeah.
Adama Sao Mauro
from Bologna isn't bad by any.
But Bologna outgrew him.
Yes, absolutely.
Ricardo Rodriguez of Torino.
Doing a good job with the Swiss national team. Definitely that team will snap him up.
Yes, for sure. Pierre Bolcini, the Como goalkeeper. Maybe that's why they're looking for anyone.
Not the opera singer, the blind one.
Not the pasta. Dennis Shershev, who was at Venezia, he's 33 now.
Never really hit it off for Venezia after he was at Real Madrid, to be honest.
Yeah. Ullman, their left back as well, Venezia's left back.
He's not terrible, Ullman.
He's pretty good, 28 years old as well. Marco Mancosu, 35 years old, was at Cagliari, didn't play much. Free agent as well. Spinazzola, who's probably going to Napoli. Alfred Duncan is
That
a free...
surprises me a lot.
But remember, these guys can still technically enter talks with their clubs and
Yes,
get
yes,
new
yes,
contracts,
yes,
but they're
yes.
available. Anyone can swoop in and tempt them.
Now they can get him.
Alfred
We can
Duncan
sign
is,
him.
is a good player, man. He's a decent player for teams to keep an eye on. Like even Bologna, man. Look at Duncan. Take him free. Like,
Look at Duncan.
Look at him. Look at Duncan over there. Alfred Duncan. Rui Patricio, don't touch him.
If you touch him, he'll dive the wrong way.
He'll jump into you. You go to punch him, he's into you.
Someone was pointing a laser on the other side of the pitch, will try to save it.
Exactly, those laser pointers. He tries to move out of the way, but he gets them more into his cornea. Ertit Berisha, Albanian goalkeeper at Empoli, had a very good season. And Bayern Young, who saved Empoli. Bonaventura was a free agent.
He'll be snapped up by someone.
Up
He might start thinking about getting himself an easier gig nowadays. He still has a lot to offer. He could look way better if he goes to a worse team, though.
Yeah, that's true. And he already looks pretty good, let me tell you. Gaetano Castrovilli as well.
Castrovilli, after his long injury, he looked. There were a few games in particular. He has, the golden balls thing. Castrovilli, he can whip in a good cross. Like, he has a good touch on the football. I enjoy watching him play. The thing is, a lot of times he doesn't insert himself into a game.
True. He's soft.
But when Fiorentina need a point, they're just piling men forward and they give him the ball and he's whipping in those balls behind the defense. He's quite good at that.
He's one of those fantasistas who plays with like a
Exactly.
limp wrist, very elegant. Yes. Now I'm just going to read through the rest because we're almost out of time. Castriota Dermaku, Roberto Pereira, Giulio Donati, Nicolas Viola, Rabio, Lazovic, and Roberto Inglese of Parma, who's still only 32. He's been
Inglese is 32.
Yes.
Inglese.
Well, that's
Okay, so that's it for this one, guys. Fuck knows what we're recording in the next episode, but
If you have suggestions, do hit us up, guys.
We'll keep you guys in the loop. We do want to cover the Euros in a bit more length, especially there are some decent Serie A pieces that we'd like to discuss that are still in the Euros, like we mentioned, Freud.
We could also react to our predictions, bro. I think that would be a fun one, but we'll discuss this in further detail.
True. It's just interesting with the Euros. We know you guys are all watching them. You're very preoccupied. This is just a nice little episode for you to, flick on Thursday when there's no football and say, okay, this is exactly what I missed. I'm up to date now. And just remind you, you're watching the Euros, you're enjoying that, but the best league in the world is waiting for you still. And it will be right back, just like we will be right back.
Exactly. Thank you very much, guys.
Love you all, and we'll see you all next week.
And subscribe on Patreon.
Yes.
And like us on YouTube, follow, whatever, subscribe, all that stuff.
And give us a kiss. What?
If you like Serie A or have ever liked it in the past, it's a good opportunity for you to listen once a week and you'll get filled in.
The football weekend, that's like the main dish. But then a few days later, you drop your episode and that's like the dessert. And the dessert is just perfect.
It's good, the cake.
It makes it feel like we're all sitting in a room together, just BSing with each other.
The atmosphere is fantastic.
I promise nobody will ask you to send boob pics.
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
I love how you go into so much detail and show so much passion towards each and every team. Literally, no team is left undiscussed.
When I listen to you, it's like I'm talking to you in a pub. It's like I'm chatting to a friend and you're chatting to me.